As Jeff, one of these videos on the ministry and missions, fallacies and realities book video set. And the one I want to talk about today is motivating men in church. There are a number of articles on this. I don't want to go through and give a whole background of all the different types of articles and books about that, lots of them, but I want to give a couple of key concepts that are generalizations. There can be some cultural and subcultural specific issues here. Of course, the Chinese are different from the Japanese, who are different from several different African cultures, who are different from different Anglo-Saxon cultures, and there are many different those, different from different Francophone cultures. Subcultural and subcultural things are important to keep in mind, but I do want to make, having worked with a lot of people from many different nationalities for 25 years in different contexts, both in churches and in industry, business, and government, some things I've seen, and I want to bring that into our church setting in missions. How to motivate men in church. And this can often be seen where men don't attend church, or their spouses, their wives are very committed and very committed in coming a lot, and how to get the men to be more motivated, or if the men are not leading or being a spiritual example in their families, how to motivate them to grow into that and do that. So one of the first things that I've seen is that it's quite important to motivate men to be able to develop and use their skills, certain skills and that they have, and put them to good use in various areas. So rather than trying to create some kind of just a men's breakfast and all that, do something that will allow men to use their skills. Men sometimes like to build things. They like to actually get out and build something and do that. Jack of all trades. Not all men like to do that, and some women like to, but not all women like to do that either. But one of the things is go find a family in the church that has some problems with their house, the yard, and get some men to come around and actually help that family out by putting together and building something, go build something in the yard, or go do something and help the men, give them a task, give something that will help other people and allow them to use their skills. That is a great fellowship activity to motivate men to come, because it's not a church activity. Avoid always making church activities of just prayer and Bible study. Do things that allow you to use their skills to help other people, because they want to help other people, they want to give. Okay. Another thing that's second point here is role modeling and leading by examples are sometimes often a key thing for men, and in many different cultures, because there's the patriarchy and the moving down from father to son. Now there are some other cultures that do that, in the Swahili-speaking cultures where it's actually different, but this is kind of generalizations here in different cultures. And one of the things you want to do is show how the role models, recognized leaders always have a story to tell about the role models who challenged them and cultivated them to participate and provide some guidance through that. And it's important to have role models and to be role models for other men in ways that are exciting. And I know that's always been something in my life from a teenager doing that. It wasn't about the Bible study and the prayer. It was important. As I remember, my youth pastor at that time took me out, said, let's go out for a McDonald's today and help me build a mirror. Go build my weird mirror for my wife for Christmas. And that became a role model thing. I went and did it and followed, and that became something that got me involved, both in the first point, but I got me involved in seeing that and how he's doing caring for his wife and wanting to do that and thinking about it. And I learned a lot from that. Be a role model and encourage others, and be the role model so you can lead by example. Another thing that I found is that many men prefer to be innovative and to create by discovery when possible, rather than just do the same repeated program and approach all the time. Now, there are some differences in subcultures of kind of church subcultures you're going to deal with here, but men will tend to want to do something that's creative. That can fit back to the first point about doing activities that motivate them. Okay, so find things that are innovative in discovery and do that. And then another thing that a couple points left here is we need to market. And I'm going to use the word marketing very easily. We need to market. We need to proclaim. That's what marketing is, proclaiming. And the Anglican Church, proclaiming is one of the 4 elements of worship. proclaim and market the relevance of God and the church life to men and how that translates into personal gain, okay? And family gain, and not just institutional gain. There are some churches that focus too much on the institutional organizational gain. What is for the church, rather than convert that into what is for the personal gain and the family gain, for that man to see how that's relevant to his life, how church is relevant in his life, and that motivates him. If you got personal gain in some way, I'm talking positive personal gain, then it'll motivate people to give more and to be more involved. This is kind of a natural tendency. Same thing at work. Give people some personal gain. So what I do is we can see this in training sessions. I've given a number of things that in the trainer workshop that I've given, that there are different levels of benefits. And the different types of benefits that I see, there are personal benefits, there are team benefits at work, there are project benefits, there are corporate level satisfaction, there's stockholder satisfaction. And what's important is that if you do things the low level that gets the personal benefits for a person, a team on activities, then it moves up and comes into the higher levels, then it's very positive. And you want to do the same way. What are the ways that you can have these elements that allow the men to see the personal gain and the family gain that you do? So bring them, you can have a church cleaning party, bring the family. It's a task you have to do, but bring the whole family and make it a fun thing. Don't make it this institutional obligation, but make it a family event. Do a picnic, do a church picnic, and make it a family event. Do some kind of thing that motivates people to do it. Like I said, do these other activities and find that get them involved with their kids. So they're role models to their own kids in doing that, okay? And helping others in doing that, okay? And that's really important because at church we need to see the real relevance and the benefits. And some of these are sometimes not always seen by men, and if they don't see it, then they won't participate. And some of the things we need to look at here is that we need to deviate from dead ends. I usually like to avoid working on dead end things. I don't like to spend time on it. It's important to have provide some healthy competition, some healthy challenging for interest for men to become and be motivated to participate, rather than them just abandoning and quitting along the way and not even starting. And many of them have been trained in their jobs to look and calculate in advance the return on investment. So they will sometimes, they tend to apply the same approach and talk about facts and figures, many of them, to a context that renders them to not be able to participate in ways that show value. And that eventually their participation is a dead end. So what you want to do is show things that show purpose, that are not dead ends and not institutional only. Give them things that will motivate them to give and to partake and be involved and see the purpose and see the benefits, and then see a return on investment of their time and their involvement. And don't just do things because you've always done it. Don't just do the distribution of some newsletter just because you've done it for 5 years and that 2 people are reading it. What's the return on investment? Ask about it. I've seen people say, we want to do this newsletter just because I've done it for 5 years or 10 years. How many people are reading it? 2. Well, what else can we do with our time that can have 100 people being involved and being really involved, being encouraged, rather than just 2 reading some passive literally you think are the reading? It doesn't mean that you should stop things, but you need to reallocate your time and resources and think about what the benefits are. And this is what businesses talk about. Unfortunately, we don't like to say we don't want to use business church. I've heard that a lot. But no, it's just good practical organizational management. It's good use of time, volunteer time. A lot of the people are volunteers. They don't want to work in things that are dead ends. They don't want to spend time on things that are just for the institution and purely for the institution, have no benefit for them, because they can do other things with their time. And go play football and baseball and soccer and whatever and do other things, and they can do that as well. They want to do things that will encourage others and that will bring some benefit to someone else. Find that, focus on those types of things for the men. And when you get a man involved, then his wife will want to be. It's not always the opposite direction. Just because the wife or the spouse, the wife is involved, doesn't mean the man will come. But if you bring a man and get him involved, there's more of a tendency that his wife will follow. That's not always the case, of course not, but that's quite important to see. Those are some of the things that are involving the men in that. And reaching none of this levels of not really a passive result, it requires a lot of forethought and what you need to do, how you need to do it. Again, see my other talk about vision and leadership and consider all that. And then go in ways that will bring iterative, ongoing building bricks on top of the bricks that will allow the men to be more involved and to be engaged, not just committed. The word committed is not always a good word. You don't just want to be committed just because you have to be committed. Go watch my video about role modeling, roles in the church, and some of the risk of just doing things because of a role. You want people to be engaged and to be committed for that because they want to be, not because they have to be. Have a good day.